Hi, today I would like to talk about 10 more things that surprised me about duodenal switch surgery. Hi, my name is Tina and I had traditional duodenal switch surgery on June 9th of 2020 with Dr. Srikanth in Federal Way, Washington. My highest weight ever was 340 pounds. My start weight when I started working with Dr. Srikanth was 282 pounds. My surgery day weight was 252 pounds, and my current weight is 199 pounds. And exactly 6 months out, or a little over 6 months out. So today I wanted to do kind of an updated, I did one of these a couple months ago, 10 things that surprised me about duodenal switch surgery. But I have an updated list, so I'd like to share that with you. I think the first one I recorded in September, so it would have been June, July, August, 3 months out. So this is another 3 months. So I guess it's a whole new mindset maybe. Different things are happening, right? So the first thing that's still very surprising to me is how rare duodenal switch surgery is. And I've since learned that there are only about 9 or so surgeons in the United States that perform duodenal switch surgery or duodenal switch surgery. So that probably explains it. I shouldn't be surprised about that because I'd never heard of that type of bariatric surgery ever until the first day I met Dr. Srikanth. So that was last February. So I shouldn't be surprised that that it's so rare. But the only people that I know that know about it are people that have gone to Dr. Srikanth. So it's just a very rare surgery still, which is unfortunate because I think a lot of people end up getting duodenal switch surgery as a revision, which is fine. That's just part of everybody's process. But I personally, if I don't have to go through a surgery for weight loss more than once, I would definitely opt for that. So I think a lot of people probably don't know about duodenal switch surgery, and so they don't choose that. But yeah, it's still very rare, and I don't know. It's still surprising to me. The second thing that is surprising to me still is that I'm 6 months out, and I still have very, very little interest in food. And just know that I've been alive for over 50 years and I've always been wanting food. I've always loved food. I've always wanted to eat. I've always been hungry. I always used food as a coping mechanism or something to soothe me or make me happy or just a way to vent or a way to socialize. Food has just always been a big part of my life, and I always had big food Pinterest boards, and I always planned meals around holidays and things like that. It seems obsessive now that I don't have those feelings anymore, but that was what I did. But I just don't have that anymore at all. We were right in the middle of today is what is it? I think today is December 12th. So we've had Thanksgiving. Everybody's getting ready for Christmas. My birthday is coming up. My husband's birthday is coming up. We've had several birthdays. I just have no interest. And I used to look forward to leftovers. I used to look forward to cake. And it's bizarre to me how little interest I have. And even if I do have some interest, if I just take one bite of something or 2 bites of something, I'm done. I'm full. I don't want it. There's no binging. I'm still kind of stunned by that. I felt like that would end, or I felt like that would stop at some point, and so far it hasn't. So the third thing that surprises me is that the scale is stressing me out. And if you're a follower of mine, you know that I was having a lot of anxiety around getting below 200 pounds, and I got stuck at 208 pounds. So the whole month of November, I refused to weigh myself because I didn't want to get on the scale again and see that number 208. I'm just sick of that number 208, right? So I just wouldn't let myself weigh myself until my six month anniversary was December 9th, and I weighed myself that day, and I got out of my stall and I had a 9 pound weight loss in that amount of time that I wasn't weighing myself. So that was really exciting. But the thing was, I was very stressed out, and the scale was determining how I felt and my mood and just a lot of things, which is unhealthy. So that's something I need to work on. And number 4 is the plateaus. So I just mentioned a plateau that I had. I was stuck at 208. And I think there's a lot of people that I watch on YouTube that have had different types of bariatric surgery, and some people plateau or stall, and some people don't. And I evidently am one of the people that does. I mean, fortunately, it didn't last longer than, I've heard of some people having plateaus for like, months, like 3 months, 4 months. Mine only lasted, I think, about 6 weeks, maybe 2 months at the most. So I'm lucky in that sense so far. But yeah, the stalls or the plateaus are difficult, and that kind of ties into the trying to stay away from the scale. A lot of people I've watched weigh themselves every day after surgery, and I can't do it. I don't know how people can do that. I just don't. I think I have way too many emotions around the scale. It's not healthy. It's not good. Like I said, I'm working on it. I have the 5th thing is I am surprised by my emotional dependence on results. So I have emotions around my weight, and I always did. I dealt with my emotions around weight by eating or not eating. But it's not the same. I don't have that same drive to soothe myself with food or to punish myself without food. So I don't have those feelings anymore, but I still have emotions around food. So that's something that I'm working on and dealing with and reading books about and trying to understand and come to terms with. This is just kind of a healing time for me. So yeah, my emotional dependence on results. Number 6 is still surprising to me, how little it takes for me to get full, and it's not consistent. So sometimes I can eat, it seems like in the morning early I can eat more, so I can eat a couple of eggs if I am really, really hungry, or if I really want to. In the morning I can eat more, but as the day goes on, I mean, usually I'll stop eating after noon if I'm planning on having something big for dinner, and I just can't force anything. I can't believe how little food it takes for me to be full. And initially, when I first started eating solid food, I think I was about 2 months out, I was preparing these big plates, what I had done before, just out of habit. If I felt hungry, I would just make this big, huge plate of food and then just eat a couple of bites of it. And I don't do that. I really don't do that anymore. I just if I'm serving myself some food, I just take a few little bites of it. But I get full so fast, and it almost feels like because you look at this little bit of food and you're thinking there's no way I could get full from that. So it feels like it's a psychosocial thing, like your brain is telling you you're full. So, but I think it's just, I still have a tiny little pouch or sleeve. So I don't know, but it still trips me out. It's still surprising. Yeah, I'll get used to it, I'm sure, at some point. But number 7, how much I mentally fought the process. So this is a really weird one, because I think as a chronic dieter, as a chronic lifelong dieter, I just have tendencies. I have, things that I do, and after surgery, I was in full diet mode and full, crash diet mode, and it was easy because I wasn't hungry and I couldn't even eat really. But I still have those tendencies. I still want to, eat something bad, or want to eat, like, for example, ice cream. Ice cream is something that I used to really, really struggle with. I used to have a huge problem binging with ice cream. If I had a bad day at work, I could come home and eat a whole thing of ice cream. I'm sure there were times where I would eat a whole container of ice cream in a day, but I could definitely down a Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and I could have that for dinner. But fighting with that mentality. I'm mentally fighting myself to figure out ways to soothe myself or to make myself feel better that don't involve food. It's a constant process. Number 8. So the other thing is that as time is going by, I feel like the first few months it was all so new, and I was talking about it and I was reading about it and I was talking to friends and family, and this is happening and this is what I'm feeling, and I don't, it was all very new and exciting, and it's getting less so. So I make these videos and I talk about it, but then I don't really have any urge to discuss it elsewhere. So it's just not something that I want to share constantly. And if people notice that, I mean, we're still in quarantine here in Western Washington, so I don't know if we're ever going to be, really allowed to gather with friends and family and stuff. But if anybody asks me about my weight or how things are going, since people know I've had surgery, and I'll just say, oh yeah, I've lost this much, but it doesn't end up being this whole thing about my recovery. It's just not as interesting to talk about for me as it was. Number 9 is how helpful duodenal switch veterans have been. So I meet with my surgical team once, probably about every 6 weeks, every month to every 6 weeks, to weigh me, to check how I'm doing with my nutrients. I've had several labs done. I do ask them. I usually carry in a list of questions when I go to meet with them. But duodenal switch veterans that I meet on Facebook or on Instagram are so helpful, and I think part of it is that they do. If you have the surgery, you're instantly. It's not like sleeve or RNY surgery, or or gastric bypass. It's a very specific, very specialized thing that you've done to your body, and I think that there's just a drive to educate yourself. And people that have had duodenal switch surgery, decades ago, are so willing and to share their experiences and what they've done and what has helped them, and different problems that they've had, how they've fixed it. I've been a couple people on YouTube that have just been very, very helpful, and I just appreciate how willing people have been to give advice and to share their experience, and it's very surprising. I didn't expect that. I really expected to be depending on Carly and Dr. Srikanth, and which I do, but just to have another forum and another group of people that are I don't know these people, and they seem to be wanting to help me, and it's just amazing to me, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate social media more than I ever have in my life since I had surgery. And that goes to number 10. My number 10 reason, or 10 things that surprised me about duodenal switch surgery, is just the incredible sense of community that I have found on Facebook, on Instagram, and especially here on YouTube. Just the sense of community, and so people are so supportive and so kind and curious and helpful, and I feel like I've made some great friends. I feel like I'm developing a community of people that are interested in surgery or having surgery or have had surgery or whatever it is. And I just appreciate it so much. And I never ever would in a million years would have thought that was going to happen. So if you're watching this video, and especially if you went this long and watched to the end, I just appreciate you so much. And I'm so happy to know you. I'm so happy to have you watching my videos and following me along. And please comment and subscribe to my channel. And I love interacting with people. And so that's my number 10. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for just clicking on the video and for watching it, and especially staying till the end. I appreciate you very much. I can't even tell you. So happy. So anyway, thank you. Have a great day. Bye.